Hey there, race fans. It's race day, top 5 with me, Frank 5. Mother Nature, she can dampen a lot of things, but she sure cannot dampen what was an exciting finish at the racetrack that we like to call the biggest, the baddest, the boldest, and the fastest. Because this is more than a race. This is Talladega, and it did not disappoint with perhaps, by far, the finish of the year. Let's get into it. Number 1, Ryan Blaney edges out Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to win the Geico 500 at Talladega by 7/1000ths of a second. That's the margin of victory that Ryan Blaney had over Stenhouse Jr., Eric Almirola, Denny Hamlin, and Eric Jones. What a day for Ryan Blaney. I mean, what a season it's kind of been so far for Blaney. He's had very fast cars, and he's been close to winning a couple races. Remember, the Daytona 500, he finished second to Denny Hamlin, and he's come close to winning a couple of other races. Fontana, he was strong. Las Vegas, he was strong. And before the whole pandemic thing, Ryan Blaney signed a contract extension with Penske Racing for a multi-year deal. It doesn't really specifically say how long. It usually means 2 to 3 years for the same organization, which is huge because Ryan Blaney has shown he is the right guy for that Penske camp. Ever since we came back from the pandemic, they kind of struggled at the beginning, but then they started picking back up and started having some good races. Bristol looked like he had one of the best cars to win until he got loose and spun around and got rammed by Ty Dillon, ultimately ending Ryan Blaney's day in dead last. And, you know, he's been trying so close. I mean, up until this race, he's the most laps of any driver that has yet to win this season, at least about, I think, 250 laps led, 400 laps. I can't remember the exact number, but Ryan Blaney capitalized today by having the best car. I mean, literally, he was the class of the field. And having all of his Penske teammates up there for the majority of the day, all hooked up on the bottom, and Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney just absolutely dominated this race, leading the most laps and basically having to bulldozing his way through a lot of the cars on the last lap of the race, as some guys were questionable on fuel after a late race caution, and some guys were questioning, do we have enough fuel to make it? Do we not have enough fuel to make it? Ryan Blaney luckily had enough fuel to make it, and ultimately pulled his way past Kevin Harvick for the lead on the back straightaway, and then he had to fend off Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Eric Jones, John Nemechek, Denny Hamlin. They were coming all out after Ryan Blaney, but he was able to knock Eric Jones in the wall and the tri-oval, and literally just came back and just beat Ricky Stenhouse Jr. by 7/1000ths of a second, which is, believe it or not, the same margin that Ryan Blaney used to win the fall race at Talladega last year over Ryan Newman, 7/1000ths of a second. Everybody wants to throw in the meme. Coincidence? I think not. Well, today, it truly was a coincidence. And I'm really happy for Ryan Blaney. I mean, he's just had fast cars all year long. And I got a good feeling that Ryan Blaney, if things go his way, and if he can continue to have good, solid results and good finishes, and be up front contending for wins a lot more often than he normally has in the past, Ryan Blaney could be a championship contender by the end of the season. And Ryan Blaney has just got super speedway racing figured out. Number 2, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now, we all know Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s first career win came at Talladega 3 years ago, and we all know he's going to be a factor in this race. But what you're also fearing about Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s super speedways, because if you remember the 2018 Daytona Demolition Derby that he started, you were afraid he was going to crash some cars today. And there were a couple of moments where Stenhouse was close to wrecking a lot of guys, but he kept it clean for the most part. Obviously, second place finish is a good result for him in the organization. He's 20th in the points, which for JTG Doherty standards, it's really good. Do I think Ricky Stenhouse is going to make the playoffs? No way. I mean, literally, he only has one more opportunity to win a NASCAR race, and that's Daytona, which is the last regular race of the season, in the regular season, in August. So he's got to wait for another 2 months until he gets another chance to try to get into the playoffs. But it was a good result for Stenhouse Jr. He was up front pretty much the entire day. I mean, he was literally making moves left and right, having to restart at the back, having to work his way to the front. He made it exciting out there. I will admit, Ricky does tear up a lot of cars, but he does put out for some exciting entertainment, especially in these super speedways, the way he drives. So, you know, Stenhouse is helping, you know, gain attention by making super speedway racing fun and exciting, but at the same time, you're wondering, is he going to cause a wreck? Well, today he didn't, but not saying he won't do it in August. Number 3, what can I say about Denny Hamlin? He had an up and down day today, too. I mean, he was up front a lot for the majority of the race. Obviously, it was a different paint scheme. He was carrying one of the Civil National museums on his car today, normally than the FedEx colors. He ran up front for a lot of the race. Then early in the middle of stage 1, he accidentally hit the wall coming off of turn number 2 because there was a big gust of wind from the incoming storms that were about to hit the super speedway, and Denny Hamlin had to pit for a right front flat tire. He fell a lap down. He took the wave around. Luckily got a caution in the end of stage 2 when John Hunter Nemechek spun around in the middle of the tri-oval, luckily keeping Hamlin from having to pit under green because he would have had to make a pit stop unlike everybody else who was on a different scheduled stop than he was. And he was able to get up to the front. I mean, literally Denny Hamlin, he's a really good super speedway racer, ran up front all day long, and, he was just able to be there at the right place at the right time for a good finish. So coming back from a lap down early in the race was pretty good by Denny Hamlin overall. Number 4, the racing. Oh my goodness gracious. This super speedway package, even with a little bit of safety improvements that we've had since the 2020 Daytona 500 this year with Ryan Newman's crash, it provided some fun racing today. A lot of slingshots, a lot of bump drafting, a lot of different lanes. You could choose go right and left. I want to say this. A lot of the drivers today kept it fun and entertaining, but they also used their heads today because you normally, when you're coming to the end of, especially the stage racing, and you're getting towards the end of the race, a lot of the guys start to get aggressive, like, oh, we got to go. We got to get to the front. We got to get to the front before we get caught up in the big one. We don't know when the big one's going to happen. Well, the big one happened a little bit towards the end, literally the green-white checkered on the turn 3. There was a couple cars that went around. But other than that, we really didn't have a 10-car pileup today, which I applaud the drivers very much for keeping it cool and using their heads today, and they still kept it entertaining. We did tear up some cars at the very end, but it was entertaining racing at the very end because it was 4 win and 4 playoff spot to be part of the playoffs by the time it starts in September or Labor Day weekend. Talladega never disappoints, well, except for the 2018 fall stinker, but today did not disappoint. The finish didn't disappoint. It was just unbelievable racing, and there were a couple fans in attendance, 5,000 fans bought tickets, first come, first serve, and I hope they all got their money's worth for today's race because it was incredible. And number 5, Bubba Wallace. Another big moment for him this weekend. Obviously, yesterday, the race was supposed to happen, but it was postponed, obviously, to today. Well, yesterday morning, we didn't find out until news broke down earlier today, when I woke up this morning, that in Bubba Wallace's garage stall yesterday, before the crew members pulled the cars out to the pit lane to get ready to start the race, there was, I'm sad to say this, a symbol of racism in Bubba Wallace's garage stall. There was a noose being hung. I don't want to get too deep into that because maybe kids that are watching this video, obviously you will eventually learn this one day, but right now it's probably not best that you know exactly what it is, but we all do have to learn about this. There was a noose hanging in Bubba Wallace's garage today, which is absolutely disgusting, absolutely sad, and a lot of the NASCAR community and the drivers, the fans, the crew members, the owners, the NASCAR staff, the NASCAR organization were absolutely saddened by this turn of events that happened yesterday. First of all, none of the drivers had access to the garage stalls. They don't, especially with all the rules with the pandemic right now going on. I don't think it was a crew member. We don't know. An investigation is going on. The FBI is even getting into this. But NASCAR said that whoever placed that noose in Bubba Wallace's garage, when they find this individual, hopefully video cameras will help if they do have footage of who placed it there, they will be banned for life. That action that person would do, whoever it was who did it, that is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Absolutely, totally needs to stay out. And we're trying our best to be a better community and try to be a better country, better world, better people. We're trying to all become better. And this news thing really, really hit Bubba Wallace really hard. That car owner, Richard Petty, who has not been in attendance for a NASCAR race due to the standard rules with the pandemic, owners can't come. He came to the race today, and all the NASCAR drivers during pre-race helped push Bubba Wallace, who was sitting in his Victory Junction Chevy, to the front of the grid to basically saying, we stand with you, Bubba. I stand with Bubba Wallace. I love Bubba Wallace. I mean, he's not one of my favorites, but I definitely like Bubba Wallace so much. I stand with him, too, through these tough times. And it was an emotional moment, but everybody being there for Bubba just shows how strong this NASCAR community is. And Bubba Wallace today put on a good show to basically put behind all this and saying, I'm going to help make this country and this community better. He had a good run today. He had a very fast Victory Junction Chevy. He ran up front. He got up front and led one lap under green. And I'm like, yes! Getting up front and putting the famed number 43 at the front of the field at Talladega was pretty spectacular. He was kind of flirting with gas towards the very end like a lot of other guys. And he came away with a 14th place finish, which is still a good run. Bubba Wallace, putting together a couple top 10s, a lot of top 15, top 20 finishes this season. He's having a really good year. He's having the best statistical year of his entire professional career. And a lot of the fans that were in attendance today, a couple of Bubba Wallace's friends from Atlanta, Georgia, looked like in his interview post-race after his buddy Ryan Blaney won. Bubba was, very happy. It seemed like, it was a little emotional too. But, I mean, he was very happy that some of the fans got to be there and support him. As a matter of fact, you probably may have seen a couple of videos. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. One of my favorite Baltimore Ravens players, Marlon Humphrey, who played for Alabama Crimson Tide, waved the green flag for today's race, and he's a supporter for Bubba Wallace. So it was very cool to see a lot of fans there support Bubba and support the race and the sport today. All those fans and Bubba Wallace, I applaud you again. Just a really good moment for Bubba, and he's going to continue to help us all become better, and I can't thank him enough for that. Driver recap: Chase Elliott. Yeah, we got bit by Talladega today. We had a good race car. We had a really good race car. Got up front, led 3 laps. Then we got shuffled to about the top 5 for the most part. And down the back straightaway, we're getting a huge run. Joey Logano with a push from Keselowski, and Chase Elliott tries to make a move. Keselowski on his back bumper turns him into the outside wall and collecting Austin Dillon. So we finished 38th. I mean, I'm a little upset. I mean, that's why you love and hate super speedway racing, because you love all the action, but at the same time, you're afraid your driver is going to get crashed. And we had that happen. I'm not totally disappointed because we had a win coming into this race. We were locked into the playoffs, so I wasn't terribly disappointed. And plus, we had good speed, and we're going to bring that speed hopefully to Talladega in the fall when we're part of the playoffs, and obviously to Daytona in August. So it was still, I mean, the finish sucked, but we still had speed in the car nonetheless. We've had speed every race so far this year, and I couldn't be more happier. So, upcoming weekend, a Pocono doubleheader. Yes, Pocono hosting 2 races in the same weekend. This is going to be very interesting. Obviously, the rules as far as starting order is going to be really congested and complicated, but I'll break all that down for everybody in the race recap for these upcoming Pocono doubleheader race weekend. So subscribe, like, congrats to Ryan Blaney. What a finish, what a day at Talladega. And until then, have a nice night.